forgot to start recording. Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to the first ever podcast. Podcast? No, that sounds wrong.
Pondcast?
Podcast. uh, where this is this side of the pond. We're going to be talking about random topics. Today's topic, if you haven't seen the stream, is what does tier list do to games? Like, is it ruining games? We are joined here by Stickman. You can talk, Stickman.
Yo, what's up?
Otto. He's a small streamer.
Hello? Yes.
Not quite as big as me yet. We'll get him there. And then we also have the stump, the chiseled log himself, Havoc.
Hi, how you doing?
So, yes. And then, of course, we have chat here. Everybody say hi.
Hi, chat. How are ya?
Also, chat, you're going to be on YouTube. So, go check out the YouTube video if you missed anything. But you can say hi. I will bonk you. What?
Damn, that was from the VIP too.
Dang,
Yeah.
chat's looking like a bunch of chads today.
All right, so let's get into this. Let's get into this. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves a little bit before we get started? Havoc.
Sure. I guess for here, I'm Grump the Stump. I play in an esports league, so I use tier list a lot. So I definitely I'll have my opinions on that.
Yeah, his opinions are invalid. No, I'm joking. Thank you for being here, Havoc. Otto.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't really have an introduction. I just kind of just do. I just do, you know. I'm a streamer. I've been streaming on Twitch for about 2.5 months now. And I've been playing games for a while. I played a lot of MMOs, a lot of RPGs, so we'll see if I have an opinion on the matter, but I think I have a few talking points on tier lists, so I'm excited to get into it.
All right, and the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Stickman.
Damn, what a crazy introduction. Nah, I'm just your average everyday Joe that just plays some video games on the side.
So there we go. So chat, we have the Stickman died.
Oh,
Oh.
why did I die?
No.
No, he's just mythical.
Yeah,
But can you still hear me?
Yeah, we could
We
hear
can
you.
hear
He's
you.
just in and out.
He's just in and
Oh,
out. Oh,
we
there
hear
we
ya.
go. He's back. It's that drawing, you know.
Oh,
He's such a
okay.
myth that nobody knows he exists. So basically, I figured that we would have somebody from each individual spot. Like, we have the esports player, we have the VTuber, and we have your average Joe.
The
stick
casual.
figure. The casual. The casual player. So we have different angles. So the very first topic that I wanted to talk about, and what we'll probably do is we'll just go from, we'll start with average Joe and then go all the way around. What do you think about tier list, and do you think that they destroy games? I want to draw up kind of what a tier list looks like for chat. I think everybody knows what a tier list looks like, but just so that we can see it. Basically, let me explain a tier list and then we'll talk about it. Tier lists a lot of times have an S, A, B kind of ranking. S being like super, A being average, B being beta, and then C being conform to your chair. And basically, you'll have these layers like this that will, a lot of times people will put their faces on it, or different characters that say, like, these guys are chads, these guys are whatever, or these guys are the worst, right? So, yeah. We'll start with the average Joe. What do you think about this?
Like tier lists in general?
Yeah.
I think it honestly varies game to game. And I think even in individual games, it's has pros and cons. So like, I don't know. Let's start with like, okay, so I have very small game pool that I've played, but most of the time when I'm thinking of tier lists, the stuff that like I play that I think of is League is a big one. Um, and then even like more niche, the next thing that I think of is actually like Baldur's Gate builds,
Oh.
like tier lists for that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, okay, so for let's start League. So when I think League tier lists, and I don't know, they're very sporadic and they change all the time because there's nerfs and buffs and et cetera, et cetera. Like, I very rarely actually value what's on a League tier list because I feel like there's so much like other things going on in League where if you don't have like your good macro or good game knowledge or good like everything else in the game, it doesn't matter if you pick the broken character, it doesn't matter if you pick the really bad one on the tier list. And then on top of that, I think that tier lists in League kind of get messed up sometimes where like champions that are a lot harder to play end up being lower on the tier list just because they have like lower win rates and stuff like that. But in reality, if you're really cracked at the character, it's like higher tier on the list. I think a place where it gets dangerous and potentially toxic is when players take the tier list too seriously. And if somebody in their game locks in like a champion that's low on the tier list or whatever, and they start to go like, "You're throwing my game. Like, what are you doing?" And it turns into like a toxic environment there, which is very just like League like. I think it could be potentially harmful. Um, but like overall, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
Then if we kind of switch to like Baldur's Gate, I think Baldur's Gate tier lists for builds have pros and cons. The pros being if you're playing like an honor mode, blah, 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 honor, whatever it's called, the honor difficulty. If you're not min maxing like literally everything,
Mm-hmm.
it's almost impossible to beat. So
Yeah.
having that information on what is best and what is actually viable is quite nice. Now, I will also say I've got my one buddy that I've played Baldur's Gate with before. And when we were first starting out, I wanted to make like a good build. I was like, I've always been like kind of min maxy and maybe it's good, maybe it's bad. But he just wanted to kind of play casual and build whatever build he wanted and stuff like that. And it almost like somewhat makes him upset when other people are trying to like min max their builds. And it's just kind of like, well, aren't we just trying to have fun? So like in that sense, it can also be toxic.
Yep.
But so I think there's pros and cons to all of it. And I think it really depends on game, and it also depends on what the person looking at the tier list is trying to get out of it. Because I think it can be beneficial if you use them properly, if that makes sense.
Yes. And those are all great points. Those are really good points. Do you Havoc, Otto, do you want to elaborate on any of those points?
Well, I have a quick question for him first. As a casual,
Yeah.
does it take away from the achievement? Like if you beat Baldur's Gate using like the best build possible? Because I
Yeah, okay.
understand, like maybe your friend gets mad because he's like, "Hey, I'm just trying to play, with my skill and figure it out my way." And
Yeah.
you
So
know,
so I actually have like sort of different runs going. So the first time I did a Baldur's Gate run, I did it blind. No build, no guide, and I just kind of wanted to like fuck around and see like what I could do. Um and that was really cool. And then but once I've done that, I've almost got like this like OCD in my head where I'm like, okay, now I want to on my next run, I want to be the most powerful busted character I can possibly be. I want to see how far I can actually push this limit. So it's like the first time to get that like achievement, yeah, I do it blind, right? But then the next time it's like, okay, let's see how far we can go. And then of course when I'm doing honor runs and stuff like that, it is okay, we need a min max absolutely everything, otherwise we're not getting through this.
So,
So I think it, yeah.
So chat actually, okay, so if in chat real quick, if you would like to for me to actually like read out your message, use the in the channel points, use the highlighted message so I can see it and make sure that I get to your questions if you guys have questions. We're here to talk to you guys as well. But chat brought up a good point and Uncle, and he said um basically you have to have knowledge of a character for it to be S tier. Um do you guys agree with that? Like, as you're saying, like, you have to, it differs by game. And part of it is, you were also talking where, like, it depends on the game, like, if it's an honor system versus not an honor system. Having the achievement of doing something that isn't just maxed out the entire way. Um, what what is your opinion? I would like to hear uh, Havoc's kind of opinion on that. Like, do you really have to be S tier? I would also love to hear your guys' Otto and Stickman. I would love to hear you guys' opinions on that as well.
Yeah, easy no. You can be good with an S tier character just starting out at the game. And I say that because I sent you a clip the other day. I beat a Street Fighter 6 World Evo champion playing on a game that I barely played, playing an S tier character.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was
It-
nuts game.
Yeah, I sent you the clip if that's something that you want to show. But basically, I wiped this entire team during a match, playing just this character where I do 45, 50% pressing one button over and over again.
What kind of game was it?
Oh shoot, I forget the game. Let me. It'll take
Was
me a
it
second. I'll
Tekken?
see if
It
I can
looked
pull
like
it up.
Tekken.
But
No, it was
well,
not
yeah.
Tekken. But Tekken's something else that I climbed up to the blue ranks, and I still don't even know a combo.
Wait,
Like,
but it was like a fighter game kind of thing.
yeah, it was a fighter game.
Okay, got you.
Yeah. Okay, so it goes back to kind of how Stick Figure was talking about, where sometimes it depends on the game. Like I think some of it goes into like how developers design games, in the buffs and the like. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Like sometimes like games actually do like the stuff like the developers actually design games to make it so that a character is better overall. Um, what do you guys do in those situations? Where a character just really is better than everything. Like, is there a bit of an honor system where you just don't play him, or do you take it? Um,
I think.
I take it.
Uh,
I will do tier list every time because I have 33 for the league that I'm in. We play 33 different games, and that rotates up to 2 or 3 seasons each year. So I don't have time to dump 50 hours into a game. So I'm going to use a tier list. I actually use 2 tier lists. Easiest character to play. I look for the top up there. I find the top that also matches with the best characters to play. So even if they're not a S tier, like if one's a S tier and the other one's like a B tier, then I'll just kind of choose the average that's easy and good to use in the game. And that'll allow me to spend like 4 hours in the game and be able to beat professionals in the game to an extent. Like eventually, like Chris G, if I were to go up against him again, he has spent the entire season practicing against my character. So I would probably lose. At a certain point, you can't out tier a professional. One of the other guys, in the league. He's a professional Mortal Kombat player, and he told me tier lists only matter in the pro level, and that's just kind of been his opinion.
in the pro level.
Yes, because even if I have an S tier and he has an F tier, I'm not beating him in Mortal Kombat ever. And he's only lost once in his entire career in this esports league, and there's been like 10 seasons now, 9 seasons.
Wait, so wait. But okay, wait. Then I got a question for you. So like obviously, if you're at different levels, like skill wise yourself, the tier list doesn't matter as much. But what if like, let's say you're not professionals. Let's say you're diamond players in whatever game, Marvel Rivals, League, whatever, where you're like above average. But do you think it still matters at that point if one's playing an S tier versus one playing, an F tier character?
If the way you got to diamond is by mixing skill and the tier, I think it can matter. If you just got there using the tier, no. Once you come up against solid players, then even if you have the best character, I think you'll still get washed. Now, even if you're really good at the character, I think if the other person's also really good at the character, I think tier lists start mattering like master, grandmaster style levels.
Got you.
But that's just my opinion. So other people, like I see a lot of people, they will just learn it. It makes one trick people, like one trick characters. And if they get banned in ranked play, then they're hurting the team. Because if they're in let's say platinum off of one character, they ban a character, they don't know any other character because they've only played this one high tier character.
One tricks drive me insane. It drives me nuts.
Oh, God forbid you pick their character, they're gonna grief you.
That's the worst feeling too,
So-
especially when somebody just one tricks like the best character, and you go into a game and you're like, I know I'm going to get my ass beat here. Were you going to say, Otto?
Well, that also creates a bit on the ruining part because it does turn like kind of a toxic gameplay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Otto, were you going to say something?
Yeah, so I played a bit of League. Stickman knows I play a bit of League, but the champ I do play is not a skilled based character. Not really. I do main Yumi, right?
Mm-hmm.
Shamefully enough. But I have played other characters like Swain and Nunu. I played Nunu jungle. I never played jungle. I haven't played jungle since like season 5 or 6. And I played Nunu, I think it was like last year, I want to say. And I fucking carried on that. And Nunu is an S tier champ for League. I'm not good at the game. I'm silver 2. So I don't know. It's like there is aspects of having skill based players, right? Like, maybe game knowledge does help, but definitely when you're going into a game with a champ that does a lot of damage and has a lot of like CC, it's gonna definitely help out in your gameplay. Another aspect was when I was playing World of Warcraft, I was doing arenas. This is during Mists of Pandaria. And for that, I would think my highest rank was 18, maybe 2000, right? So 1800 to 2000 rank. And I was in a PvP guild. At the time, the name was Perseverance. Guild owner was Haunted WoW. Haunted WoW and we participated in an event to fight Swifty. Unfortunately, I didn't win. He won. But I played a Prot Warrior. I did eventually fight Haunted WoW. I did beat him. I also dueled Soda Poppin at the time. This was back in like, I don't know, 2014 or something, right? So it's been a while. I lost. I'm not gonna beat a rank 1 feral druid. You know what I mean? Like that's not gonna happen. But when I would go into arenas, because of Prot Warriors sustain, and it was S tier for sustain, staying alive during that time period. For PvP, it was pretty high up there due to the fact it did a lot of damage and I healed a lot. I was literally, just with second wind alone, unkillable. It was unfair. I would carry in 3v3s as a single person, and I was getting gold for it. I was doing carries.
Dang.
Absolutely unbelievable. So like, looking at it that way, I believe that there are people that can go into games, right, regardless of some skill level. Like, sure, you have to have basic game knowledge, right? Like if you pick someone off the street, never played a game before, you give them an S tier, character to play, they don't even know how to use a controller or a keyboard, they're not going to do good. That's a given, right? But if you take someone that has like at least basic game knowledge, they play casually, they're going to do decently well on most instances, right? For most characters.
So that brings up a great point, because my question to that would be, is this good for new players? Like, if new players were to join into a game that they've never experienced, you would almost want them to kind of have a bit of fun so that they don't feel like, I just joined into this game, I'm getting my ass beat, and I'm not having fun, so I just want to leave.
Yeah, I actually think it's probably pretty beneficial for new players. Like, that's probably one of the times that it's best, is just so that you can hop into a game and not just play someone that's like god awful and think that you hate the game because you're getting smashed 24/7, but it's actually just because you're playing a really, really bad character.
Yeah.
The
Before
one
we
thing I can
start,
say is,
before we keep
oh
going,
yeah,
we do have an ad in 10 seconds, so we are going to take a break. Um, while the ad is running, since everybody can hear us, I'm just going to we'll take a quick break. But the question that one of my chatters brought up is, they said in programming we have this concept called controversial ability. Basically, the idea is that two systems that produce the same output likely have the similar inputs as well. Even if the actual system is totally different, applying that here, the tier lists say more about the gameplay considering of the people considerations of the people that made rather than the actual methodology that used to determine which characters goes on top. Think about that for a second. The other questions that I have is, like Havoc said, tier lists are tier lists really only for pro level, or are you just bad? Like, is it something that you just need to improve on your one character that, like he was saying, his buddy played a character that just wasn't top tier, but he beat him with a top tier character. Sometimes it's just practice. And then we can go back. I would also like to, when we start once the ad ends, we'll also go back into, is it good for new players? We'll talk about that. Then we'll also talk about the pro, like, does it only matter in pro level? But yeah, Leishi, you made a great point. That is actually interesting. And the next question after that is this also, how does this affect developers? And we will actually get this into later. Like, is it good for developers? If you need to, go get some water and whatnot. The ad break ends in 30 seconds.
Okay. Actually, I think I will take you up on that. I'll be right back.
All right. This is a good conversation. Good conversation. I'm glad that this is how I wanted it to go down. I'm glad that everybody has good opinions. All right.
What kind of opinion I have?
So, while we're waiting for Stickman to come back, chat. Also, if you have a question, start off the sentence with "I have a question," so I can know. Or if you want to just give more information on a topic, say giving more information at the beginning of your sentence. If you can do it in bold letters, like capital letters all the way through, I can pause people and let them know so we can read over your messages. But yeah, I'm glad everybody else is also chipping in. I want to hear people's ideas, worries, whatever. We can go back. Let's go, Otto. Let's go back to how wait, Uncle wrote a message real quick. I feel like the tier lists only really suffer if the game caters to casuals. That's a good point. We will add that to the points. But let's go back to Otto talking about, is it good for new players? I'm sorry I cut you off before.
Yeah, no, it's fine. The thing is with new players, I think it could also create a misrepresentation of balance in the game. Also with the overwhelming of new players, right? So new players might be thinking they'll have to stay up to date with meta and actually not play the game how they want to play and only play through what the meta says for the tier list.
Yeah.
So it might make games less enjoyable because you're not playing your actual favorite character or the characters you like.
Uh, See, I think my argument to that is that the people that want to use tier lists as a new player, I feel like don't necessarily care about playing their favorite character then, because otherwise you wouldn't be looking at the tier list in the first place. Right? Like let's say you're new to a game and you're like, you know what, this character is really, really cool. I'm gonna play him, right? If you look at a tier list and you go, oh, he's actually F tier, but you still really want to play that character, I feel like you still do.
Yeah.
I feel like the people that are actually looking at the tier list as a new player are the ones that just want to find the broken stuff. They just want to, you know, feel they just want to win. They just want to feel good. So it's like
So what I
it's almost like oh sorry, go.
no, you're okay. When I look at a tier list, because how I go about it is when I'm looking at tier lists, especially when I'm playing a new game, a lot of times I will actually look at tier list. What tier list also do, like a good tier list, we're going to talk about this in a minute. What's the difference between a good and a bad tier list? But I wanted to bring up my kind of idea. Basically, my what I would think of a good tier list is something that also talks about how the weapon or how a certain class works. It's not just, hey, this is good, you should play it, or hey, this is getting this amount of kills or this amount of win streak. I don't care about the win streak. How does it play? And I think a lot of times, like, I'll actually look when I'm going into a new game is I'll look at that, not just for like, hey, what's the meta? Hey, what's this? But also looking at the abilities and stuff like that so that I can go, okay, those look fun. Why is this good? Etc. Etc. So a new player, it can also help. We will come back to this. But I wanted to bring in that side too and see what you guys thought a little bit about like if a like is it still good for new players in your guys' opinions? Like if a new player came to you and was like, "Hey, I want to know more about this game." Would you actually give them a tier list?
Um,
Probably not.
it's the first thing that I run to usually when I do go to a new game is to see what is broken because like why not, right? That's what
Yeah,
I did
see
with
that
Maple Story.
I agree.
So
That's what I do too. When I go to a new game, the first thing I go do is a tier list.
yeah,
But I think if like let's say you came up to me, Connor, and you were like, "Hey, uh, I want to play Marvel Rivals. How do you play this game?" I don't think the first thing I'm gonna show you is a tier list. I think I'm gonna go through and be like, you know, these are the healers, these are the tanks, these are DPS, and then
yeah.
and then after you've kind of like played a little bit of the game, then I think the next step would then be like these ones are sort of the meta champions, which I guess is kind of like tier listing. But like the first thing that I do, I don't think would be to throw a tier list at someone.
I would throw a
Yeah.
tier list. I'll say, hey, Marvel Rivals, do you think you want to be a tank, a DPS, or a healer? And then they would kind of choose one or two, and I'd be like, all right, well, these are kind of like the top 4 characters. Because I guess kind of a toxic thing to send up for a new player is they choose like a F tier character, like their first couple games, and they're just being yelled at by the team the entire time.
Yeah,
Like, oh
that's
my god, you fucking chose Rocket. You don't even know how to play him.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, just switch to switch to tank or something. And
So,
then they get discouraged, and that can kind of turn them off of the game. Actually,
yeah, that's a good point too. Lacey made a good example, and he said, in Magic the Gathering Arena, the top tier decks every season, pretty much without fail, is a mono red burn. And the reason is not necessarily because the deck is strong, but because these decks tier lists generate off of win rate on off of online games. And people have a tenacity to play decks that go fast rather than decks that go slow. In that case, a mono red um, begins on top says more about the tier list generating from players' data and preferences than the deck itself. When that makes a great point. Talking about like maybe sometimes things aren't actually bad, but they're slower player or not to people's play styles. Like when I a lot of times what I'll do like for instance, I'll actually look up different weapons and whatever. So like for Monster Hunter, um, I looked up every single weapon. Most of the time people make weapon builds of like, hey, reasons why you should play every single weapon, kind of idea. And I'll look at those different weapons, and then I'll look at why is something popular versus non-popular. What I've realized over the time, is people have certain personalities. So also knowing your friends' personalities, or the person that you're recommending a game to, I think also you can give them through that tier list, like, hey, like for instance, I'm a support main. I love playing supports. I love playing healers. I love playing. I either do that or I do tank. I never play DPS. I love helping my team out, and that is my passion in video games. I love it. Whenever I play World of Warcraft, I'm either playing absolute healer support, or I'm playing tanks. And going to back to that point of, do you think that some tier lists actually um take away from that? Like especially if you're giving it to a new player, like player might like, to Stickman's point, hey, I like this character, but I'm getting my ass beat. How do I, like, is there a way that we can design tier list possibly into a way that allows for new players to be like, hey, these are the tier lists. This is kind of what I like. This is what I don't like. Like for instance, support or whatever, that makes it so that it's more friendly towards new players, or that you can recommend more tier lists for new players.
I think for that kind of suggestion, you have to kind of rotate away from tier lists, like give them the characters, but rotate them over to guides on how to play that character.
Yes, 100%.
Mm.
Yeah, because you can take a bad character, and if you put in, they say if what you put in 1,000 hours towards anything, you'll be good at it.
Yeah.
They can take a F tier character and really learn how to play it real well. They're gonna
Yeah.
suffer, and they're gonna get yelled at, maybe even shadow, like get banned because everyone's reporting them trying to learn the character the first few games.
Yeah.
But I kind of, even the tier list, they make a dramatic difference if you're just playing by yourself, if you're playing with one person, or if you're playing with, if you have the entire team. Tier list doesn't matter as
Mhm.
much because your friends, they'll flame you jokingly. Hopefully, they won't be Ninja yelling at Tim the Tap Man
Yeah.
because he's playing bad, and then he goes on to be like the number one character or number one spot for certain characters when he's not playing with them.
Mhm.
But he'll be able to, tier list can help a new player learn quickly at a decent. So if you're trying to catch up to your friends that are already playing and ranked, you can learn like the two of the top characters. So if one gets banned, you have another one to play. Like what is it? Smite, I was rank 1 Bologna for like my first season that I played it, because I just chose two characters and I just time dumped into those two characters.
That makes sense. So, okay, that actually answers this top question. Tier lists only matter in pro level, or are you just bad? Um, what do you guys think as a casual player and as a streamer? I mean, if we go from the streamer side a little bit, let's talk about this from the streamer side a little bit. As a streamer, you kind of also get the influence. As an entertainer, as somebody who gets to show off certain things, you get a bit of influence on what people play, especially if you're in, like, because people watch you and people in, you inspire people to be like you. Um, that's just part of, in, as you show off and do that, a lot of people tend to do that. What do you think? What do you think of that? Do you think that, like, do you think that really you just need to be in the pro level, or do you think that some characters are just bad, and it, because it also adds into the content perspective of, if you're playing a game and you're just getting beat all the time, what do you think?
Well,
Go for it.
okay. Well, how I see it is like if I'm trying to like entertain, be creative with the content I'm making, I want to look at something as well where it's like maybe having things being too stagnant in the matches. If everyone's using meta, everyone's using tier lists, right? People become they have over reliance on the tier list itself, um, which causes I find it causes games to become more predictable,
Mm.
right? And then it would be not as engaging or not as fun long term because of that matter, right? If I want to play something, I want to play something because I enjoy it and I find it's fun and I can do it entertainingly, right, on stream. When I first saw someone, this is a good example, when I was doing Overwatch, I was just a Mercy main at first, right? I just played Mercy, didn't play anything else, and also a Diva main. And now I play Lucio. I'm a Lucio main,
Let's
and
go.
only because
Same.
Hey,
I like Red Shell, right?
Yeah.
Red Shell, when I watched him play and just fuck around, mess with people, it was entertaining, right? And that's why I moved to Lucio.
Mm-hmm.
And now I have more hours on Lucio than I do on Mercy, right? For total gameplay.
Yeah. So that's a good point. So it seems like, and I don't stick. Do you want to add anything to that?
So not to that, but what once you say your thing, I was gonna talk about tier lists only matter in pro level. I'll go I'll go after
Yeah.
that,
Actually,
but
yeah.
finish
Go
your
go
thing
ahead. Go
first.
ahead. No, go ahead.
So okay, I almost think that tier lists change depending on your rank. Like each rank has its own sort of tier list. And
Mm.
I think the reason why that's a thing is just simply how difficult it is to play certain characters. And the skill level, like the average skill level that's expected at each rank is different, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like somebody that's, challenger in league it might be able to pull off like the Yasuos, the Aurelias, the really flashy and cool characters and stuff. And maybe they're S tier in those ranks, right? But if
Mm-hmm.
you try to pick it up as a bronze player, it's probably F tier, right?
Yeah.
So I think one tier list doesn't fit all for all ranks, and I think it drastically changes as
Mm.
you change ranks.
Do
I could
you?
agree with that. I think there's two different tier lists. There's the one made by the pros, and then there's the one made by the influencers.
Mm.
Like you'll see like the lower rank people try to play Spider-Man, and they'll just be jumping off a cliff trying to grab people and pull them and missing every time. And then you'll see people that are just absolutely insane using Spider-Man. Like people get influenced based off of how cool this player looks while they're messing up the other team, and then they can't do it themselves, and then they just end up getting yelled at by their team.
So going back to that point, it seems like, and I don't know if you agree. Um, and I'm reading chat. Roz also pointed out that continuing on the top of the tier list, depending on the game you're playing, there's also single player, multiplayer, and there's also competitive versus games that are MOBAs or fighters versus looter PvP, PvE games, and it changes the context. Tier lists depend on that, but overall, in a way, it gauges what popular and depends on the person and his personal preferences and pros and cons. So what I'm starting to, I think what we can all kind of agree on, um, is that tier lists really only matter to certain individuals. And what I mean by that is, and I think we've hit on this a little bit. For instance, you were saying like if you're going to play like a support isn't going to do as much damage as a jungler in League of Legends and LoL. But so they're going to be in the higher tier. I think what um tier lists really only matter for the individual, and really only matters to kind of cater to what they're playing as. And I think in the end, tier lists don't really matter as long as you don't put the hours in. So, in overall, would you guys say that probably like even if you're playing these high tier characters or whatever, do you think that the main issue is just players are just bad? Honestly, it's not like tier lists don't really matter people just are under the illusion that they matter. You just need more hours in the character that you're playing, or the thing that you're doing in order to produce results, good results. Is that true?
I think that I think I think yes and no. So I think I think it's more so like an F tier character can become really good in your hands if you put in 1,000 hours, let's say, right?
Mm-hmm.
But an S tier character might be able to be S tier if you've only put in 50 hours on them. Whether that's just because they're easier or their kit's just better, right? Like, obviously, if you put enough hours into anything, you can make them good. But I think that more so the S versus F tier is almost like how many hours do you need to put in for this character to actually be good, kind of
Mm.
thing.
Do you guys want to
Yeah.
add on to any of that?
Yeah, I think tier lists can open up games to be playable for people that just don't have a lot of play time. Like if you only care about winning, if you play like the hideous character that you would never want to enjoy, that you don't actually enjoy playing, like if you want to play Overwatch and you just want to click hold somebody, you can play Mercy and you can get wins. If winning is the only thing that makes you feel good in the game, then yeah, you choose tier characters. But God forbid, like if you main, let's say, you main Lucio and then they nerf Lucio absolutely into the ground, and now he's a F character. Will that make those people quit playing?
Mm.
It doesn't seem to be. At least, like, I think people just get mad. But yeah, like
Will they
unless
change to the new character? They're like, oh well, I've already learned this character. I don't really want to put in the effort to learn the new S tier character.
yeah,
Or do you think people will really just go ahead and just learn a new character?
Mm.
I think it's
that
a good
happens a lot in
opening.
League. It happens a lot in League. Like you'll have stuff where people get nerfed right to the ground, and it's like, oh, they're fucking worthless now. Don't play them ever again.
Yeah.
And then what people do, they just adapt. They just move on. Really, like they
God
move on to
forbid
their
you pick
next
an
champ.
off meta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I main Zac in League of Legends, but I main Zac jungle, Zac top lane. I can Zac support. My duo and I, we were like in the diamond range, and I played Zac support, and he would play Tristana. So I would jump in, he would jump in. But if I play just against a random, if I pick Zac, they instantly get pissed.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
so
Zac,
But then I start carrying later on, and they're like, "What the heck?" My apologies.
so it seems like there's really just two big points here. That looks like a two. Hold on. So mainly one, um, tier lists aren't really bad. They aren't bad. They aren't terrible. Um, but it really depends. Now the question would be, is it just the players? Like it seems like a lot of it comes down to, um, we've lost the connection behind playing something that's fun and playing something that's competitive. Do we try to reach for the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow more than we play the game or have fun? Or um, is this more of the fact of, like, is it actually more the player's fault? What I'm trying to get is it more the player's fault or the developer's fault? Um, it because that's what it kind of seems like it's transforming into a little bit, because I think a lot of it, like you guys were saying, at least in League of Legends, and I know in Overwatch it was kind of the same way, where even if a character isn't great or isn't amazing, people will DC, people quit the game because you're not playing that higher tier character. What do you guys think on those?
I think
So-
tier lists do create a little bit of toxicity. Sometimes maybe it kind of balances each other out. It creates a lot of good, but it creates just as much bad and drama within a game.
Mm.
People get mad if you play off meta. People get mad if you steal their. If everyone plays the same character on the team, all of a sudden they release like a new S tier healer that has body shapes that jiggle. Everyone's trying to play the same character, and they get mad if you choose it. And then if God forbid you die once with that character, and all of a sudden they're like, "Yo, you need to get off that character. Let me play it."
Mhm.
You don't know how to play it.
I think that is the worst part of tier lists is when people, but once again, I don't even know if that's the tier list fault or like a player taking it out of context, right? Like a tier list should just be to like help guide you. It's not like God sent down like his disciples to be like, this is the tier list, all who do not follow will be smited or something, right? Like it's just a guide, and as soon as you're like getting way too serious about that, that's I don't know. I feel like that's the on the fault of the player at that point.
Yeah. Oh, Otto, do you have anything to add to this?
I'm gonna think on it a bit more. We'll come back. I'm trying to think of what I want to say. That's all.
So
I do get a little tilted when influencers create their tier list and then they push for the devs to nerf characters that they don't like or boost characters that they do like.
That
mm,
drives me insane.
that's a good point. So I think it could be a little bit of both, right? A little bit of it can be the game, depending on how the developers buff or like decrease it. Like depending on what they do with different characters, I think that really influences people's decision on should we play it, should we not. I think part of it is the developers are trying to figure out um how to balance, how to nerf, because I think like honestly, I think that going from probably a developer's standpoint, looking at people's, they probably watch tier lists too. They probably are looking at these going, what do the people actually want? Do they want this guy buffed? Do they want this guy nerfed? Can we keep this guy here and then just buff everybody else? Um, but like I said, like you guys are saying, I think part of it is also the players. The players with their own biased opinions or their own toxicity against a certain character or a certain whatever also plays into it. And I think that if like how would you guys like if you saw both a developer and a player yelling at each other, developers going, what the heck do you want? And the players going, why won't you do this? How would you talk to both of them in order to figure out what like exactly how to fix something, how to go about something? And I'll give you a couple of different examples. One will make the first example is this: you have a overbuff character. Um,
All right, I got one for you. Malga's overpowered. Let's nerf Genji.
that's a good one.
Huh?
That's a good one, right? Big, strong, buff guy. Let me make a big, strong,
Wait,
buff guy.
who's Malga? I stopped playing
He's
that
the-
shitty game a long
He's the
time
guy
ago.
with the two miniguns. That's a tank.
Tank with 2 miniguns. Okay,
I'll
is he
send you a
broken?
photo.
Is
Yes.
that what we're
Yeah,
saying?
he's
broken.
He's
Okay.
absolutely ridiculous.
Fucking bust. You can't kill him. You literally
He's
cannot kill
unkillable.
the man.
Genuinely, he's
So-
unkillable.
Yeah, so Genji needs nerfed again.
Yeah, Genji needs
That's what I'm
nerfed.
hearing.
Yeah.
Oh, why? Because Genji's annoying.
Yeah.
No, he's like mid-level character, and they're like, "Yo, let's just nerf him anyways." Just like some of the characters, they're like, "Why did they get a buff? They're already S tier."
Okay, wait. My question. So, is Genji getting nerfed, even though he's mid tier to the average population, because in pro play he's extremely strong? Because that's something to consider too. And that's another difficult thing for devs is balancing for both pro play and casual gamers, right?
Yeah, and that's a
'Cause-
very hard thing to balance too.
Because, for example, in League, there have been devs that have talked about this, and Rise's win rate in casual gaming can't be above 45%. Because as soon as it's above 45% in casual, it's beyond broken in pro play. So forever, that character, no matter what, will continue to be nerfed and changed to maintain that really low win rate. Now, is that right for all the Rise mains? Probably not, and they're probably very frustrated about it. But that's the difficulty, is that certain characters are just better in pro play when you have communication and you have like everyone that knows their role and can play the game to like the highest skill level. I don't know. So it's difficult to balance a game properly.
And I think the devs mainly listen to either influencers or they listen to the stats, like pros and stats. Even League of Legends, if you type in like I looked up Nunu's tier is A tier based off of League of Legends, and that's off of Emerald Plus games. So
Yeah.
they don't even care about Emerald and below Emerald. Like it could be
Yeah.
100% win rate, don't care. If it's this win rate in this category, then we'll either upgrade it or downgrade it.
Mm.
Yeah. I actually think that it's probably better to balance for the higher skill than the lower skill. Because the thought is that in theory, given an infinite amount of time, even the worst players would become good at the game.
Mm-hmm.
So you shouldn't tailor to the players that are going to improve past that. You should tailor to the ones that are already at that level. But I don't know, because you know, obviously some people don't have infinite time to put into a game.
Yeah.
The pros can definitely demonstrate changes in the characters a lot easier because they're min maxed pretty much completely. Like at the pro level, you can't really get much better. So if you change a character, if it really gave him a boost, you're gonna see all the boosts that you gave this character, or everything you took away from it. Like even games like StarCraft still get changed, and that game's old.
Oh yeah.
Like 15 some plus years old for StarCraft 2.
Oh,
So,
do we have an ad?
Yep.
oh, we have an ad.
All right, timeout.
Time
Yeah,
out.
StarCraft 2
Break.
came out in 2010. So 15 years and they still do updates on it. And it's minor tweaks like raise and lower 15% or like 15 health on an item or 3 seconds faster build.
Yeah. What I think is really interesting is there's like little things like so in League there's things that they call like pseudo buffs and like fake nerfs in a sense where like for example there was this champion Vlad and everybody was saying that he's so broken, he's OP, so they released patch notes saying that they're going to nerf him and they forgot to put the change in. So in the next patch, they said that he got nerfed, but he didn't actually get nerfed. And what was crazy is his win rate went down, his play rate went down, all because players thought that he was worse, right?
Mm.
And people started knocking him lower on tier lists and stuff like that. But that character didn't even get touched. It didn't even get changed. But it's just like a pseudo like nerf where they thought like, oh, maybe he got nerfed. So then they also say that there's like pseudo buffs. So like if a character is getting very little play, they'll give them a very minor buff that's like, oh, I'll give you plus 5 HP. And
Yeah.
like somebody will have like 400 HP, right? So getting an extra 5 HP does nothing, but people suddenly see, oh, he got buffed. And they start to pick him up and they start to play him. And their win rates like skyrocket. And people are like, oh my God, they're OP. Why would they buff this person? And it's like, in reality, that buff did nothing. It was just to get people to pick up the character again.
So
Does that mean more people, instead of watching the pro level tier list, they were watching the influencers and they got influenced and they just chose what was popular versus what was good?
I mean, one of the questions we could ask is, what has more influence? Also, thank you for the follow. I can't see your name. So.
Oh, it's Coco
Coco Lord.
Coco Lord, thank you. Thank you, Coco Lord, for following. Hopefully you enjoy the podcast. Going back to the point, what actually really does have more influence? My sound's really low? Oh no. Let me increase my volume. Is that better? Can you guys hear me better?
You sound good.
Yeah, we can hear you fine.
Okay, yeah. I was talking to Street. What is
Stream,
the Stick
can you hear?
Man? The Stick Man, he's the man, the myth,
That's
the
me.
legends.
That's me. What's up? What's up, Coco Lord?
Um,
Can I name drop him?
No, you didn't. You didn't.
You're good, you're good. So going back to it, it seems like a lot of like I don't know for you guys. Honestly, I couldn't tell you any of the pro players. Like for any games. Even I do a lot of research into Pokemon VGC. And a lot of it is how Pokemon, like, just how the numbers are. And that's how kind of determines, like, what a good Pokemon is versus a bad Pokemon is in a game. For those of you who have played VGC, maybe you haven't, maybe you have, VGC in Pokemon, basically any game that Incineroar is in is automatically meta. Like, he is in basically every team. He was in 90% of teams last year, the year before that, just because he's that broken of a character. He's just a really good all-around type. You can make teams without him, but everybody always makes teams to go up against him. Like, that is the main worry. Even though he's not a legendary Pokemon, it's just his typing and stats. One of the things that but how I knew about that was actually through influencers. Not really pro players. Pro players, you can go look at the stats if you really wanted to get into it, but it doesn't seem like pro players really have the influence. People watch them, people see their gameplay, but they don't really have the influence. It's like the same with football players. Name any football player that you look up and actually see, okay, I want to hear more about this guy's perspective, whatever in the game. No, you go watch somebody else that follows that guy. Like, you watch the influencer over the pro player. It's kind of a dumb way of thinking about this. Is it just me, or do you guys also get that? Like, chat, do you also do that exact thing? You watch the influencers, the entertainers, more than the pro players. What's your guys' thoughts on that?
Pro players can be boring for some people because they're just methodical, min-maxing, whereas entertainers are screaming in their microphone because, oh crap, this just happened.
What do you mean? I never scream in my microphone.
right? Never, ever. If I wasn't pushed to talk, I would be screaming even more. That's why I'm so loud in what is it, Repo?
That's true.
Because I will actually like
also
while I'm playing a game. Holy crap! I was not expecting that.
Repo in an hour, chat. Stay for that. It'll be fun. Go. But as you were saying.
Yeah. Whereas you watch pro players, they're just all you hear is like, and they're just silent.
Yeah.
Maybe they might look at chat and read it. They're just like who is it? Sonic Fox. He was supposed to be on my team for this last season. He's a professional fighting game player. He's also like partnered streamer. He averages like 600 to a couple thousand people. He wins Evo many times. And oddly enough, he's actually a VTuber too. He uses a Fox. They put him in they put him in one of the games in their tutorial.
Oh, cool.
They just they featured him in the game, but he barely talks in his stream. It's just straight like practice mode combos or going against a match on somebody. So somehow people watch him, but you can even hop into maybe other people where it's lesser skill, but they're given more verbal content.
Yeah.
Like they're talking to chat, they're showing expression.
Mm-hmm.
They're not like Ben Stein playing the game.
Yeah.
Wow, chat. Clear eye for the red eye.
Wow. Yeah. That's fair. I mean, I think one of the things and I think that really influences how people go about things, right? People are going to be playing the things
Where's Stickman? Where am I?
Oh no. The legend is gone again. Also, where's
top
Stickman?
Streamers aren't the pros. Top streamers are like Queso.
Yeah.
He's not good at any game, but he's entertaining.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, but is that who you would go to learn to improve your gameplay, or
honestly,
to learn the game from?
Honestly, if Queso made a video on how to play freaking Marvel Rivals,
it would get more views than a pro.
It would have 10,000,000 times more views than pro. He could be saying,
but is that where you would go to?
Yes.
Is that where you would go
absolutely.
to learn?
Because it would be
That's crazy
there
to
to
me.
watch gameplay.
So
I'd go there to watch to get entertainment. But
yeah.
if I'm trying to learn the game,
I mean, so
I'm going to the best of the best.
here's
They
the
expose
reason.
you to the game.
I
Yeah,
Yeah, they can expose you to a game.
Yeah.
But you do have to dig towards the pro side if you actually want to learn how to play it well.
So
Yeah.
the reason why I would probably say is I would go for them is there are certain ways to get people entertained enough to stay through a video and learn something. People are going to learn if he comes out with a video, people will learn it better than a pro will come out with a video, and even if the pro gives way better advice, way better whatever, the difference between the two is the entertainment. People will last longer, people will be more engaged. Dude, that's what it would be. If Queso made a tutorial video, comment section would be making fun of his weight. That's true. But but the reason for that, I think of a great example. A great example of a pro player actually doing like Queso entertainment is Wolfie Clicks for Pokemon. Wolfie Clicks is a professional player. He's been Pokemon champion for multiple titles. I think he's won like 4 or 5 times. I don't know if he won this year. Or last year. I don't think he won last year. But he made videos. And his earlier videos, even though they gave you amazing advice, it was like you were in school and it took forever to like, it felt like the video would never end. Now, his videos are entertaining, he's funny, it's something that you can go back and watch. Even if it's bad advice or whatever, people will go to the entertainment of a video more than the actual good knowledge of it. I mean, if you really think about it, how many people come out with videos that are genuinely bad advice, but people will love it and people will even follow it because it's entertaining?
Oh, tier list and guides are just an entire like category of YouTube videos and entertainment.
Yeah,
Like you can make a career just off of tier list.
I think people have. Yeah,
There are channels
Yeah,
that do
there
that.
are.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Oh, so
You
I'm
can
still
literally make it.
dead. Where am I?
I don't
You
know.
rejoin the thing.
Chat, should I make
Oh.
a YouTube video of
What
tier
happened?
listing every single frog? Should I do
Uh,
that? Anyways,
If
do
you yell
it.
enough in it, yeah.
Okay, maybe we'll set that up for another one. But yeah, going on that note, though, let's talk about how can we fix tier list? How can we make them so that one, the pro players actually can give good advice. 2, tier lists are actually useful. Oh, Stickman's back.
Hey.
The myth, the legend.
The myth, the legend. And then last of all, in the end, yeah, actually, let's just talk about those 2 points. How would you? So we'll go around the table, and let's just go like give like a what 8-minute spiel about how would you improve a tier list, and I will try to draw it as you explain it.
Oh boy.
We
Who
can.
wants to start us off?
I'm not starting.
Okay. Let's start off. Let's
right.
start off with Havoc. I want to throw out Havoc because I mean you use tier list all the time, and I bet you've run into a handful of terrible tier list videos, and some that are absolutely amazing. Like what in your opinion is a good tier list, and how would if you were to give a tier list of, let's use the example of League of Legends, because I think a lot of people know League of Legends. But how would you, just to throw out a couple of characters, how would you design your tier list if you were to come out with it? Like, what would you do? How would you be entertaining enough? How would you utilize it so that it's engaging, people enjoy it, but it's actually methodical and well put out?
I would have to first. I'd have to separate it out into categories. Like, supports, mids, and you can reuse. Like I can put, let's see, like Caitlyn. I can put her in in ADC, and then I can put her up in the top or even the mid lane. Just if they play in a role, then I would toss them in. And if you can show them real life examples as to why they belong where they belong, like if I click to a spot where you're just seeing her destroy mid lane. Like personally, an off meta that I like is Nico support because my Q goes through minions and it hits the enemy, which I think it's better than Lux with the grab.
So
but Lux can throw her E out and then do that bit of damage plus her ult.
going back to what you were saying about categories, like let's say, would you design your categories like it has been like this, or would you design these boxes differently? Like, would you just put like, okay, this one is DPS, and then you would have another one for support, and you would have another one for whatever, and then keep it like this, or would you change this design?
It'd be different videos. For content, it's kind of like a content mine, right? Just making, especially for League of Legends, there's so many champions. There's like, what, 170, 180 champions.
We're over that now.
Over now? Yeah, it's been a minute since I played. But like, I can make one just for support. I can make one just for, and then you can even go further and like off meta best characters to play in this spot. But when I'm looking at it, just because you can make a tier list doesn't mean you should be making a tier list.
Mm-hmm.
So I do see bad tier lists made, and what I do is I kind of average. So I'll open up like 3 or 4 tabs of tier lists. In my case, like easiest player to learn, and then I'll take like 3 kind of who averages what off of those tier lists, and then I'll look up 3 or 4 more tier lists of best characters to play in this role, and then I'll choose 3 or 4, and if any of those match, then that's one of the characters I'll be playing.
Okay, that's fair. So like when you like, let's say you put a character in like the S rank, and this character you would play a series of videos explaining why they're good, probably like a clip montage or farming. But that's how you would do it, right? You're saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's how I would do it. I would try. I wouldn't focus on the pro level. I would focus on just more the normal people, on how easy it is to learn the character.
Okay.
I think that's how the route that I would go.
Would you
Because
have?
I do make tutorial videos for like my teammates on learning stuff fast.
Do you have?
Like
I know that some people do this where they have stars beside them, where it's like, oh, this is out of 5 stars. This guy's a 1-star rating, S tier hero, and 1-star rating on difficulty. Would you do something like that, or would you do like a bar like this, and then you fill in this bar full of like, okay, so it gives you more of a visual, so it's like, okay, this is about midway, and it's about that much full for how difficult it is. Like, this is extremely difficult, midway difficult, easy difficulty.
I wouldn't. I don't think I would have the star or the bar. I would just, if they're the best, then they're going to be top left. If they're the worst S rank, they're going to be like top right. In the
I
S
think
rank.
he's talking about for skill. Would you add like
skill?
add like a star that indicates how hard they are to play?
Yeah.
I think I would reference like, hey, the difficulty here is pretty. I would do it verbally, and then I would refer to, hey, if you're really, these guys are, as far as best to worst. If you're looking for easiest to play, I got another video. So really, the way a lot of content creators could form it is refer them to other videos that they've already made.
That's fair. That's fair.
Instead of repeating content, they're like, hey, if you want to see the easiest character, watch my video here.
Yeah, that's
this
fair.
one I'm going over who's the best player and who's the worst.
That's fair.
And
that makes sense. Okay. Going to. Oh, sick man's gone.
Oh, did I die again?
Yeah, he died
No.
again. It's all good.
You'll come back in a minute.
You'll
come back in a minute.
You'll be back.
I'll come back. Okay, I won't leave and rejoin them.
You're good. You're good.
Me- listen.
Chat. Let's talk to chat a little bit real quick. Chat, what do you think of that? Do you guys like this tier list? Do you like how he portrayed it? Like, would you watch that? He's a professional. Like, he's a legit professional esports player.
I
Would
wouldn't say
you?
professional, but I do play in an esports league
Yeah.
for $1 million each season.
So, Can I have a slice of that cake? Like what? No, I'm joking. Anyways, not me handouts. Not me grabbing for handouts. What do you guys think?
It's split through the whole season and all the teams, so it's not like I get $1 million.
Oh, okay, that's
Most
fine.
I get is probably about. Let's see. The top
Everyone's
players they make about
gone.
100. They make about 100 grand.
Okay, that's fair. That's still a lot of money. That's pretty good money.
I appreciate how concerned this guy is when I disappear.
Yeah, he's just like Stickman's gone. He's having a midlife crisis at 18.
You could try rejoining and see what happens.
Yeah, see
Yeah, I'll
if
do it
that
again.
fixes it. Maybe people are still thinking. We'll give people some time to kind of hear everybody else's kind of how they would
Oh, wait,
design them.
can I ask a
Should we
question,
make a
then,
tier
Mower?
list? Should we make a
Yes.
tier list on people making tier lists?
Oh
Like,
my
which
gosh,
tier
that's
list
what
is
we're
the
doing
best
next.
Tier list, the tier list.
Yes, we'll tier list, and then we'll just have like an infinite loop of tier list, and then just say this tier list was definitely F
I'm
class.
back.
Welcome back. The tier list,
Yeah.
and then at the end we'll just do all of them frogs. What was your
Okay,
question?
wait, real quick, can I ask a question? Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Okay, my question. Okay, if you're doing this tier list thing where you're showing clips of all the characters popping off and doing whatever, if you're doing like a league tier list, for example, there's like, I don't know, like something like probably like 40 champions can play in the jungle or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
How are you fitting 40 clips into one video?
I think in that
They're all gonna
sense,
be
you would
2
just
seconds long.
take the win-loss rate. Oh, what's
Oh,
up?
sorry. I was just making a joke. I was like, you just take all of them and you 2 seconds long. They get like a glimpse.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's just 90% of them are just booty cheeks, and the other. No, I'm joking.
Hey, there are tier lists with GAT
Yeah,
tiered
trust me.
characters.
I know. Wait, no, don't click
You've
that.
got to play this
Y-
character.
yeah, you got.
You know? What do you mean you know?
Wait. Pause. Don't clip that.
His frog's GAT is on the front.
We've seen what's his name, Mark. We've seen Mark's Pokemon videos. Anyways, going back to his original question again. Would you like to repeat that question?
Oh, he asked me if there's like 40 characters to one lane, am I going to go through all 40 characters for a tier list?
Yeah.
Personally, I wouldn't. I would probably choose like the top 20 in terms of stats.
and show a clip for all 20?
Yeah, the clip doesn't have to be very long. It can be anywhere from 5 to 10 seconds.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
Yeah, you can wipe a team pretty quick, or at least just shows like some of the just some hot gameplay with that character.
Gotcha.
Or not hot gameplay if you're gonna put them down in the F tier. Like you see them take like your opponent has 0 health and you have full and you somehow die because you know Yumi outside of a character just doesn't do damage. That's why I have to put her at she's not an S because after she's outside of somebody she's useless.
So-
watching a ADC try to kill a full tank horn and they're hurting themselves more by
Right,
auto
right.
attacking then.
so that's not actually a bad idea. Like 10 seconds a clip. That's not a bad idea. That's 3 minutes. It's roughly about 4 minutes worth of gameplay. In most people. So whenever you go to like meetings and where they talk about how to keep people's attention, a lot of times they'll say you have 5 minutes to hook them, and if you can hook them, you get an additional 10. So you roughly have about 15 minutes. So that means 4 minutes of your 15-minute video on how to play these characters are going to be videos of them actually doing their
Actual
gameplay.
clips.
Actual clips.
Yeah.
That's not
And I feel like-
bad. That's not
Yeah,
bad.
I feel like typically when you see a tier list video, it's usually about 10 minutes, right?
Yeah, it's
when they're
roughly
doing it
about that.
anyways, so
Yeah.
that kind of
And you're going to be
That kinda
showing
works.
gameplay first, or you're going to be doing a massive, crazy introduction because in social media and entertainment, you don't have 4 minutes. You have about 9 to 15 seconds.
Yeah.
And if they're like, "Oh, this video, slide, next video," so
Unless
you literally
you're-
have 9 seconds to catch them into your video,
Unless,
unless you're
me.
already big.
Unless you're me, and then you just walk up with the face like looking like this. and then everybody listens.
Hi, chat.
Hi, chat.
Listen to my tier list.
Daddy's talking. Anyways.
Oh my god.
All right, but that's a good idea. That's actually, I like that idea. I think I would be willing to listen through that because it's entertaining. You can make it entertaining. You can make it like a meme, like the meme videos where they kind of add different special effects like for every 10 seconds. That's a good idea. That's I like that idea. It it adds, and people who are genuinely, most of the time people who are going into these tier list videos, they're going to wait. They're going to actually see what your tier lists are and then give you that time. We do have 5 minutes before an ad break. Do Stickman, Otto, do you want to add anything to that? Do you guys want to add anything to that before our next ad break?
Like add to the tier list.
Add to what he had said. Like, do you think it's a good idea? Like, do you like his idea? Do you hate it? Do you think it should
No,
be...
I think it's good. I
Yeah.
think it's good.
I think I need to see it.
Would
I
you need to change
watch
it?
that kind of video.
That's fair. That is
Oh, I
fair.
died again.
You died. You have to rejoin.
Oh, you're back. You're back.
You're back. You're
Oh,
back.
nice, nice.
He's back, chat.
You're rated. Would I be a B tier or
Yeah. What his
Put me in a
tier?
list
What would you
on
put it
making
in a tier?
videos.
I don't know. I'd have to see it. Because I don't know how. Okay. Typically, when I'm looking at a tier list, I don't even watch a video. I skip to the end and I look at the
Yep.
final tier list, and that's it.
Mm.
So
I do
I
the
don't-
same.
so I don't know if throwing all like the clips and stuff in, if I would even give it the time of day. Me personally.
Yeah.
That's not to say that's a bad idea and that it wouldn't have worked for other people. But me personally, I half the time I don't care what they have to say. I just want to see what's the best.
Yeah, that's
Just tell me what's the best. I'll play what's the best. I'll feel it out, and then I'll come back later if I need to.
that's fair. That is fair.
Do you think tier list videos should put the entire tier list at the beginning and just kind of go over, hey, this is kind of a spoiler. If you just want the information, here it is.
So I think
Then
I
start
would
over
like
and go
that
over it.
more, but then so I would like that more, but I think it wouldn't be good for the person making the tier list because I feel like a lot of people are just gonna click on the video, see the tier list, and leave.
Mm.
And I
What
feel
I
like
would
you
do-
want more.
So
like,
What I would
Don't-
do
don't
is
they have to-
even I would redirect you. Hey, if you want to see my tier list, go over to my Instagram and you can see all my tier list in one spot. You know, I'll put the link in the description. Click this; it'll take you directly to the tier list that I made today.
yeah.
Yes, yeah, I would
Otherwise,
click
if
on
you want to
that.
watch, I got clips and I can tell you the why just in the video here.
Yeah, that's fair.
See,
Um,
I would definitely click on that Instagram, scroll through, and see what all your tier lists were.
Having- last night you sent a video showing off a bit of your gameplay in the meme channel. It should be the one right above my meme. Just can you double check that that's the right one? If that's the case, I was going to play it, and it's not like exactly probably what you would put into a tier list, but is this kind of like a little bit of what you would kind of throw in, just so that the people can watch?
Are you talking? Because I did post one in your clips channel as well. Let me click on the meme channel. Oh, yeah. For as far as how easy a character to learn, the one in the meme channel definitely is
Yeah.
something that I would do.
Okay, so let's pick this up.
All right.
Okay, we will make this bigger. Hold on.
And it's better with audio. By the way, I didn't make the audio after the fact. I did it while I was playing,
While you were playing, okay.
and I do it during my matches too.
This is gold. Okay, let's make this big. Okay, let's move chat out of the way real quick.
We're playing some Tekken. And mind you, I had only played this character just like for that week, and I had already climbed up. You can actually see it when I started the video. I'm in a much lower rank than when I finished the video, because I just kept winning.
So that's about 20 seconds. There you go. That's your clip. Are you guys watching that? Like, if that's the clip of that character? I think I would if that was like, hey, this character's easy, and then you just played that, like,
It looks like pretty much like one movement, right, that you're doing
yeah.
over and over.
I mean,
Yeah,
like you could add like that. I think that would be really funny. I think I would honestly enjoy that, and you could show off a little bit more than just that. But I mean, that's 20 seconds. What is that? 8 minutes. 8 minutes out of your 15 minutes. You don't need to be talking that much. You don't need a long introduction. Basically, hey, how I would start would be like, hey, I'm Rocky Ribbits. This is my tier list. Let's get right into it. I like this character. This character does X, Y, and Z. This is why I think he's the best. Blah 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 blah. But yeah. Okay, so we do have an ad, so we are going to take a break. So chat, if you need to, go get some water, go get a little bit of food, stretch. I wanted to take some time to thank you guys for also doing this podcast. We are 30 minutes before ending it. So some of the things that we will, if you guys, Stickman, do you need to leave at all? Or would you like to stay for the last 30 minutes?
No, I'm good to stay.
Okay. So what we'll do is we'll go through probably either Otto or Stickman. If you guys have a different way of going about this tier list, I think this tier list is golden. I think it's really well thought through. But if you guys have your own tier list that you would like to bring up, we can do that. And then basically the last question that I think would be a good ender is, how does this affect developers? And making sure that certain things don't happen, like with toxicity, because I think we're realizing that there is a bit of toxicity within games because of tier list. So welcome back, everybody. After this, so welcome back. For those who didn't get it, you guys, Otto, Stickman, do you want to add, do you have your own tier list that you would like to kind of share to chat, like break it down, how it's designed and whatnot? Or, would you like to do any of that? Or do you want to add anything to this, before we move on to the next question?
I kind of have like my own. I can go over it really quickly.
Yeah, no, you have time. We have time.
Okay. Might I add also about tier list being toxic? Maybe this might relate to it with Overwatch, but they had recent development with, like, I wouldn't say recent. It happened. It probably happened a lot while. Maybe my time of frame is like off, but they recently like made chat more strict because people were flaming too much, being toxic in chat, like all you remember that when people were,
Yeah, I do.
they made that announcement. Yeah, so like that might, there is a bit of influence on like toxicity in that aspect. Anyways,
that's a good point.
For the tier list itself, maybe adding in, like, if you were to make another one, maybe a skill floor and a skill ceiling for those characters in the tier list.
Okay.
Maybe team dependency, with the how much does that character need their other teammates for, or how much can a character solo influence a game, right?
I think that's actually really important. Yeah.
So
Because you can have a really good character, right, but they don't work well with the team, then it's not an S tier character anymore, right? It depends on the influence on the team as well. So you'd have. Oh, go ahead.
So I was gonna say, I think a really good example of that is even stuff like in Marvel Rivals, running Punisher alone is really, really bad. But when you run Punisher with Rocket and he has his infinite ammo, suddenly becomes a significantly better champion. So it's like Punisher on its own might be like D tier, but if you have a Rocket on your team, now it's A tier.
Yeah.
So would you almost do it like this? So would you set up your thing like you have your team and then your solos on this side, and then having a gauge where it's like if you have a team, S class. Let's say this is your S class, A class, B class, C class, D class, Canada. Your
Yep.
S is here, A, B, C, D. And then you would either put it on the left or the right. Would you do it
Yeah.
like that?
I'd probably do something like that, and if there's like a redesign, like whatever it may be, but like for now, we can say that we do it that way.
Mm. Here-
For
Here's
easy.
another thing to consider. What about counter matchups?
Yeah, I was gonna say like we can have you can get into alternatives, right, for the picks as well, and also the counter picks, right?
I think
Because League does that already with some of like OP.GG does that, right?
Yeah.
Like they
Mhm.
have the counter picks for champions, right? And I know
Mhm.
like basic when you look at a tier list in entirety, usually it's just S tier to D tier or
Mhm.
even F tier, right? And they don't actually incorporate counter picks. They don't incorporate skill floor, skill ceiling, team dependency, carry potential, right? For these characters, champions, heroes, whatever they may be for the game.
so. I have a question to that. How does that affect like because I know a lot of videos that actually talk about the individual character actually do that, but it's more of a breakdown of that one character. Because if we're talking tier list, you really only, like I said, you have 15 minutes to design or to have this tier list. Most people are not sitting through a 2-hour tier list video.
No,
Um,
no,
so
no.
you,
I've seen some character videos where it's like you can have a breakdown of a character, right? Let's say that you have a website where the tier list you can click onto the portrait picture of like of the character of the champion, right?
mm-hmm,
And it expands out a window as it gives like a detailed summary of what they do, why they are good in this current meta, and maybe a video linking to like maybe like a 5 to 10 minute video linking an actual individual character guide for that particular champion or hero, right?
yeah. So
Um,
one of the things
that's a lot of effort.
that is a lot of effort. So one of the what I would ask is, okay, so to add on to that idea, would you, as let's say this is just your video, they don't really have a whole lot of links unless you want to throw in a whole lot of links down in your YouTube description. Um, but could you add like, hey, I'm going to tap onto this character, and then on this character, it will give you a long list of it, and you can say just screenshot this, and it will say, okay, these are the characters that are good with, like good against, and then this way, these are the characters that they are good with. Would you do something
Yeah,
like that?
yeah. I think that'd be fine.
Okay.
And you can also show like we've discussed before, like the win rate, pick win rate and pick rates for the individual champions or
Mhm.
heroes, that may be in the tier list. Also you can make, I guess, um, if possible, this is very hard to do. You can collaborate with community, right? Sure, that might be easy as an influencer, but collaborating with developers as well, right? If that opportunity can arise, it can happen. It just depends on how much pull you have as a creator or individual, right? And maybe you could be a middleman for delivering these kind of balances or maybe metas to developers or communities, right?
Mhm. So
Um,
Roz also adds a
yeah, no,
point. One
Yeah, wait, I
way,
really like his point actually. I like
yeah.
it a lot.
Let's read this out real quick. One way to make a video from tier list is to make a short converting to
Covering.
the exclusive character slash weapon, and then at the end you slot in whatever tier after explains in the short. That way it's digestible and people can pick up and choose which short they want to view. That's a good point. And then also at the end of YouTube, you can also say, hey, I'm going to be coming out with a series of shorts that also dive deeper into all these individual characters. Most people will watch a 30-second short, and you have enough time to dive. 90% of the time, you have enough time to dive into a character enough that people will understand it or digest it better.
Yeah, I also like that almost doesn't feel like a tier list in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice for those people that are like, you know what, I really want to play Lucio. I want to play Lucio. That's my guy. And you check out this tier list
Mm-hmm.
or this like little short, and it shows like, oh, look at these really cool clips or whatever, or really bad clips, and very quickly slots it in as like, oh, this is C tier. And you're going,
Mm-hmm.
oh, okay, well, I also kind of really like this character as well. It's like Mercy or whatever. And then you go and you view Mercies, and it's like, oh, S tier. And you're like, okay, cool. So I have like a new character I can try, where you're not getting slammed by 40 different rankings
Yeah.
and also just being like, you know, and then at the end you can have like a full YouTube video or whatever of the entire tier list that you
Yeah.
made, but then also have the separate shorts, or even just have like a link um to the final tier list with everything in it.
That makes sense.
But something
Well, I guess
quick.
I think that brings the question: is it worth content creators for viewers like you, Mr. Stickman, to even make a video? Should they just make it a post or a forum?
See, for me, I'm not watching a video. Like straight up, I'm not. And it's so
That's
bad,
fair.
but I don't have the
That's
attention
fine.
span for it. I'm just like, give me the facts. So that's why I really like the shorts one, because there might be like a handful, like 5 characters that I really like to
Mm-hmm.
play or that I think are really cool, and I just want to be like, okay, out of those 5 characters, who's the best, and maybe watch a quick little clip of gameplay and be like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I really like the way that one looked. I'm gonna play that character.
Yeah. Well, I think that honestly, what if we combine these two ideas? Because like I really like Havoc's idea and I really like yours. Um, but I think they would just do better together. Adding not just like maybe if you make it into a 20-minute video, right? You still have 4 minutes. You're not really going to be talking about the fluff on what the guys are good with. Maybe you'll talk about one character and just say like, "Hey, by the way, Punisher's really good with Rocket. It's also good with these characters. Take a screenshot if you need it, or not even say that. Just say, "Hey, this character is better with Rocket," and then in the short, it'll elaborate more into that. But also show like a 10-second clip, like Havoc was saying, or a 20-second clip, right? Which brings it to what about you have about 8 minutes worth of your YouTube video about clips. That's engaging, that's entertaining. Then you have your shorts that really dive deep into like it'll show part of the clip and then like maybe even not 20 seconds, but 5 seconds, 10 seconds about a clip. And then diving into it or whatever. I think if you combine both of those, I think that would be good. I also like this idea of better with the team, better with solo, because I do realize that a lot of people play characters that in a solo mindset, in a set that's like, hey, I'm playing, like for instance, Punisher. He's not good solo, right? I haven't played Marvel Rivals. My computer can't run it, but I've seen a lot of videos. Punisher can't really run solo. He can. It's just way more difficult. This is kind of like the idea, right? Where let's say this is Punisher. Punisher might be a B tier, but he's C tier in solo ranks, or maybe even D. But
Yeah.
in that way, you can also allow players to be like, okay, he's better in a team. These are the guys that he's good with. In fighting games, you don't need the two sides because you're never dealing with a team. But you
Yeah.
could add, like for fighting games or card games and stuff like that, you could add, hey, these are the guys they're good against, right? These are the guys that they're whatever. And you could say good against versus, or like Otto was saying, skill ceiling versus easy to play. There's a lot of ways to do it. I think if you added both of those, adding the clips, adding this, adding useful knowledge, yeah, I mean, overall, you can't stop bad tier lists from coming out and people from watching bad tier lists or bad advice. You can't. Part of that is going to be on the players to just get better. Part of it is honestly just waiting for players to get better and for them to realize that sometimes the issue is them. I'm talking to you, chat. I'm talking to everybody else, even me. If you're bad at a character, sometimes it just takes more time, as Havoc was pointing out.
No, I just have to choose a different S character. I'll be good at that.
Yeah. Just do flavor of the month. That's
This is my team. They're the bad ones.
That's the message, chat. Everybody write that down.
I'm not bad. My team is.
Roz
If I
also
were to
said,
be Adalisk,
huh?
Go ahead.
Sorry. Roz said you could also make a full tier list on a web page and have a link to it in the shorts. That is better. I like that. You can say at the end of your YouTube channel or even the beginning, say, hi. Like if I were to start, be like, hi, I'm Rocky Ribbits. I'll be making shorts about all these different characters on my YouTube channel to dive deeper into it. But here is the basic tier list. If you would like to look at it more, here's a web page. The web page is in the description. That was 30 seconds, less than 30 seconds, and you're ready to go. And then you can kind of break it down. I like this idea. What do you guys think? This is going on YouTube as well. YouTube, send your comments. What do you guys think? Do you guys like both of them? Do you like tier list 1, tier list 2, tier list 3? Like put 1, 2, or 3 into your thing? How would you design it? How would you go about this? It's not a this topic really isn't talked about with anybody. At least I haven't seen any videos on it. But I think it's an interesting topic to kind of go over. A lot of it is kind of subjective, like depending on the game, depending on the developers, and that's where our next point's going to come into. How do you think this affects developers? Like, in overall, a lot of it, sometimes it just comes, like, I don't know about you guys, but in my opinion, I think sometimes the game just comes down to, did the developers design this character with buffs or whatever, like Malphite, what is the guy's name? Not Malphite. The guy in Overwatch that's like a tank. I can never remember his name.
Malga?
Malga. Yeah, Malga. That's him. Okay. But Malga, right? Going back to him. Yeah, so that's the kind of sometimes it's just dealing with that. How do you think developers can improve upon making things so that they're not broken like that? And then 2, how can we, as a community that doesn't design the games, make it so that developers can digest it and actually get good information? Havoc, I would really like to hear your point on this, especially as a pro player, because you do have to deal with, as I like to call it, like casual nerfs. And it's not, this nerf was casual. It's they nerfed a character because of the casuals. Even though you're like, this character should have been nerfed, but this character really is the issue kind of idea. That character really doesn't do anything at the higher levels. Like, how would you go about this?
Honestly, I would just have to either play a different character if it makes mine not viable anymore. Because the main thing is the developers kind of have to cater to the casuals because they will outnumber the pros. The pros are like just a very, very small percentage. The influencers have more influence than the pros do.
Yep. Yeah.
So anything I say or anything like actual like people that main a specific like one game say, they might take it into consideration, but they're going to listen to just the influencers and the community in general on what, or not, they'll listen to absolutely no one, just do what the heck they want.
Yeah.
You know, nerf whoever they want, boost whoever they want. Like Dead by Daylight, one of the devs like got walked by, who was it? A bunch of survivors. So he just made it to where the survivors are just severely handicapped against the killers in Dead by Daylight.
Well, there you go. Well,
And then
so I have an idea. What if they allowed, like, if developers overall actually allowed those who are in the competitive areas to have a hotline to personal conversations between buffs and nerfs? Because, like you said, competitive players are a small group compared to the rest of the game. Let's say there are some games that have hundreds of competitive team. But you could honestly, out of 100 people, if you took one person out of their team to represent their team, to kind of talk about what good buffs or good nerfs are, what do you think about that? Like, is that even a good idea? Should that be
the one
like
kind of the one game that I've seen do it the best is a game called Dark and Darker. They have a Discord channel where you can make suggestions, and then people can like or dislike your suggestion. And they look at the people that were kind of really boost up people that like it, and they consider making those type of changes.
Isn't that catering to casuals still? Because that's the majority of the population.
Yeah, it would cater to casuals, but they can make certain channels for only pros, for example, or high-end players, or just rank diamond or masters and above, and allow only those people to have access to be able to vote in these type of things, or put information for this. Like, hey, I think Genji maybe needs a little bit of a buff. Maybe add two more weapon into his ammo will offset or allow him to do enough damage to really make a difference now.
That makes sense.
And people will be like, yeah, you know what? You're right. Who is it? The guy that uses the kind of the shoot. He could float. I forget what he's called. Star Lord, I think. And
Star-Lord?
maybe make his magazine a little bit bigger.
Oh, Star-Lord's busted right now. We don't need to make his magazine bigger.
Exactly. So you suggest make his magazine. Like,
it's not big enough.
Smaller.
He needs to have
Yeah,
more.
it's beyond busted, man.
He needs more ammo than Punisher's ultimate. No. No, but that is a good point. Genuinely, that is a good idea. I like that idea because it allows both the developers and both sides of the pro and the casual players to go and design, to kind of give them ideas, give them fresh ideas. It gives them a time to kind of sift through them. I have also seen
help too.
I've also seen channels do the same thing, but they also put timers on it. So you're not just getting flooded with just random text messages. So it's like when you put in one idea, you actually have to think through it because you have to wait a week before putting in a new idea. I like those kind of things. That would honestly come down to the player base, and the player base talking to other players and being like, hey, don't spam these channels. Don't just come up, like, actually think about what you're bringing to the table. I think that's a great idea. Stickman, Otto, do you have anything to add to that?
I
I
don't
don't
know.
think so.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing to have a Discord where you can ask players, or not ask players, but like kind of submit what you think about the game and how people can vote on it. I don't think that's ever going to be a bad thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's still catering to casuals, so I still think the pros are still going to get misrepresented in there. But I still don't think it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Because if the majority of your community is still the smaller ones, then it is what it is.
But even if you, like, yes, it's always going to cater to the casuals because the casuals always have the majority. And a lot of times the majority wins. But one of the things that you can do is, yeah, the casuals might say, hey, Star-Lord still needs buff because we can't do anything about whatever.
Yeah, because I left click the entire time and I can't kill my thing.
Exactly,
Whereas
and
pros,
and my
you
wrist
click
is
with fire
hurting
keys
from
three
left
at a time.
clicking. Yeah, exactly. So, it, but that's a dumb example. But you get the point. But allowing pro players into the conversation, maybe even highlighting their thing, giving them a new tag, giving them, because I think casual players need to see also the pro players' messages, and identifying their issues, identifying their problems, um, can also affect. I think it also affect how people tier list things, especially if it's easy to, it's accessible, it's easy to get to, um, and it's easy to find. You can see threads of, hey, these are all the casuals talking, adding all their different things, but then there's the one pro player's message that it's highlighted or in a different whatever, and it's in there and it tells everybody, hey, I think that this is what, as a pro player, this is what I would love to see in your game. This is what I would love to see in whatever. Um, yeah, Star Lord is broken. Even though you casual players think that the left click is too hard, um, we need his ammo reduced. We need certain things brought down. This is how I think we could fix it, and then your casual players will actually start will see that and be like, hey, maybe it's tougher down at the bottom, and then maybe in the game, maybe they could even add like, okay, maybe we won't buff up Star-Lord more than he already is. Maybe we will nerf him, but maybe we buff up a different character that helps support him, or whatever. It gives them options, and it allows the casual players to also be like, hey, this is like, maybe we're just bad. It can also go into that a little bit. What do you think, Stickman? What do you think, Otto?
About what part specifically?
So
Because you gave a lot just now.
sorry. mainly like the highlighting of pro players, like highlighting.
I
the
think that's
messages.
good. I think that's
Yeah.
always good because I think casual players oftentimes need a reality check.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because you'll have people go in that are casual players that are like, yeah, I could be GM or Diamond, whatever it may be, and then they go into it and they realize,
Oh crap!
maybe not, maybe
yeah,
not.
maybe not.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm lagging,
Or
guys.
even,
I'm
like, the
lagging.
stuff
It's a
like,
lag.
oh,
Yeah, it's the lag, guys. Don't worry. It's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah,
oh,
it's
oh,
lag.
that. I thought you meant you were actually lagging. I got concerned for
No,
a
I'm
second. I was
joking.
like,
I'm
what's
joking.
going on?
No, you're
No,
good.
or stuff where it's like, oh, Alawi's broken, man. She's so OP, yada yada yada, and then you see a pro player and be like, so Alawi is F tier. She's really really bad because of X, Y, and Z, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm just bad.
Yeah, you're just bad. Yeah.
Oh,
So
I'm dead again.
we're about, we have an ad starting in 2 minutes. And we're about 8 minutes away from ending this whole thing. Before the ad starts, I think that this was honestly a great conversation. I think this adds, I hope that this video might reach some people. Just I hope that it piques people's curiosity. And gets people talking about it a little bit, because I do like, going back to the original question, are tier lists ruining games? And I think that the way that we're going about them is, that is my honest opinion. How we go into a tier list and how we come out of a tier list honestly does ruin our games. I think that game, like, if you really want to understand something, you need to understand how to play the character. You need to understand how to play the character at a competitive level. Actually start getting good at it. Don't care about what the stats and whatnot. Look at that. Look at, hey, this character's S class. But play what's fun to you. Play what's enjoyable. Understand how your character actually plays, because you can play an S-class hero and play an F class tier, depending on how good or bad you are. Granted, yes, S class a lot of times it's easier to pick up, it's easier to get going on things. But that's not always the case with everything. Sometimes a little bit of dedication, hard work, really promotes actual good gameplay. Would you guys agree with that? Um,
Yeah, I think I agree with that.
Can I play devil's advocate here?
yes,
'Cause-
yes, absolutely.
oh.
Okay. So I think.
Actually, I'm gonna pause you. I'm actually gonna play.
Oh,
Ad starts at 20 seconds. Actually, no. I'll
Okay,
snooze it.
then-
I'll snooze it. I'll snooze it. Okay.
okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
So, all good, all good. I think tier lists themselves are actually good for the game. And I think the issue is actually with the players and the way that they get used. Because I think if you use a tier list, I think the people that want to use a tier list just to like determine what's the best and whatever, that's fine to do it for that.
Mm-hmm.
I think the issue is when we start to is when it turns toxic, when it becomes people that aren't playing S tier characters are getting flamed
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
That goes back to
Right.
the Overwatch thing, where like they had to moderate chat more often because of people being toxic, right?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So I don't think the tier list is bad. I think the way that we use them can be.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I would have to agree with that. Yeah. Yeah, I think that, and maybe this is kind of on the developers too. Like, I do feel bad for developers coming up with games and coming up with things that allow players to not be toxic, because a lot of it is that people. I think you make a good point. Sometimes it's not the tool; it's the man holding the tool, right? That's the
Yeah.
issue. And a lot of times we do blame the tool, and that's a great point. I'm glad that you did that, because that is eye opening for me as well. Yeah. So I think that tier list could be changed. I believe that all of us can agree tier list could be changed a little bit to make it more engaging, actually give you good content, actually give you good advice. But also, you as a player need to also understand that you affect how people go about playing their game. You as a player go about understanding how toxic a game environment can be, and whatnot. How good a character is versus bad, whatnot. So sometimes it seems like in the end, a lot of it is just you. When it's plain that it's the developer, we can blame the developer. We shouldn't blame the developer. We should try to help figure out solutions and see if we can help the developer. But
I don't know. I think it's on the players on how they react to people that play outside of their perceived tier list.
that makes sense.
Like if you're bad, that's fine. People do have bad games. But if you're playing bad and you choose like a bad character and I flame you for it,
Mm-hmm.
then that's just me being a bad player, like
Yeah.
a bad not bad
Person.
actual bad person
Yeah.
playing a game. Like there's a lot
Yeah.
of toxic people that play games. Like
Yeah.
if you've ever sat in a Call of Duty lobby,
Yeah,
you know that there's just
Oof.
bad people that play games.
Yeah.
They think the anonymity, the anonymously of the internet allows them to act like an idiot.
Yeah.
Roz
The
makes
unfortunate thing is that regardless, though, whether there's tier lists or not, those toxic players are still going to be toxic. They're going to find something to complain about, something
Mhm.
to yell at you for, some whatever,
yeah.
right? Like, eliminating the tier list doesn't change anything.
No. And I think that is a good point. If we, instead of eliminating the tool, utilizing the tool better, but then also maybe we can even create a revenue as players for, like, even if the developers don't create something good, as players, we can always make a website. We can always design something to maybe reach out to the developers, make it big enough that the developers actually, where it's like they can't not see it, and then allow them to be like, hey, here is something that we've created for you to help you guys understand where we're coming from versus where you're coming from. Sometimes, yeah, there are times where some games just don't have enough developers for their game. Would you guys kind of all agree on that, or have anything else to add to that, or add against that?
No, I think I agree on that
Yeah.
that point where it's like there's always gonna be like there could always be shorthand and stuff. Develop. So yeah, no.
I think a tier list would be a good summary. Like I wouldn't even if I were to do like an actual kind of like how Roz had mentioned earlier to make a short video for each character, instead of a tier list, I would do report cards. Like, all right, Punisher, we're here today because you've been going off on your solo. Your solo's only level D. You need to stick with your team a little bit more because you bump it up to a B plus then.
Yeah, that's fair.
So you need to stop running off and acting like a fool and be with your classmates during the matches here.
That's not a bad idea either. Well,
so in group, I'll give you a B. Solo D. You need to be medium range. You don't go against this guy. He's your bully, but you can bully this player.
And
always
always
make changes.
Target Rocket or target Starlord.
Nerf Genji.
Nerf Genji. All right. Well, it is time. I wanted to thank you guys all for hanging out, for relaxing. Thank you guys for in the chat. Hopefully we answered your questions. Hopefully we did or didn't. Stay. The stream is not over yet. We will be playing Repo in like 10 minutes. But yes, this is the end of the podcast. But thank you guys all again for hanging out, for staying. And I just wanted to say that, like, if you guys have any suggestions on what we should do in on YouTube, write it in the comments. For new podcast ideas. I want to hear you guys' ideas. And again, thank you, Havoc. Thank you, Stickman. Thank you, Otto, for doing this. This was awesome. A lot of fun.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any last
Thanks
words
for having us
before we end the recording?
Yes. Hey, chat. Stay sexy.
Okay. All right. See
Very
you guys.
important.
See you, YouTube.